Have you ever felt the kind of spark that sets your world on fire? A moment so electric, so unexpected, that it leaves you breathless and questioning everything you thought you knew about love, desire, and connection. This isn't just another love story. It's a whirlwind of passion, temptation, and a night that defied every rule. Buckle up, because this one's going to leave you on the edge of your seat. Have you ever played with fire and found yourself burning in ways you never expected? What happens when a chance encounter at an art gallery turns into a night of unbridled passion, blurring every line between desire, connection, and spontaneity? This isn't just another love story. This is a raw, electrifying journey of attraction, temptation, and a moment that would change everything. Before I reveal the breathtaking details of a night that defies every conventional rule of romance, take a deep breath. This story isn't for the faint of heart. If you've ever felt the pulse-racing thrill of unexpected desire, if you've ever wondered what might happen when two magnetic strangers compete for your attention, hit subscribe. Some stories are meant to be whispered, some are meant to be screamed. This one, it's about to set your world on fire. It all started at an art gallery. You know the kind, dimly lit, filled with abstract paintings that make you tilt your head and wonder, what am I even looking at? I was standing in front of this giant canvas, trying to figure out if it was a paint splatter or a confused rainbow, when I felt someone's eyes on me. I turned, and there he was. Tall, dark, ridiculously handsome. His suit was perfectly tailored, his hair swept back in that effortlessly sexy way, and he had this mischievous grin that made me blush instantly. "Admiring the chaos?" he asked, nodding toward the painting. I laughed nervously. "Ah, sure, it's colorful." He chuckled, and I swear it was the kind of laugh that made you feel like you just won something. "I'm Oliver," he said, holding out his hand. His grip was warm, firm, and when his thumb brushed against mine as we shook hands, yeah, I felt that spark. We started talking, and within minutes I was hooked. He was charming, confident, and just the right amount of sarcastic. He told me he owned a small design firm and had a habit of crashing art shows for fun. "Got to keep life interesting," he said, winking. I was just about to ask him more when someone else interrupted us. "Stealing my date already, Oliver?" I turned to see another man approaching us, and let me tell you, this guy was no less stunning. Blonde, blue-eyed, with the kind of jawline that could cut glass. He was more casual than Oliver, jeans, a leather jacket, and this air of effortless cool that made me do a double take. "Date?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. He smirked. "Not yet, but give me 5 minutes." Oliver rolled his eyes. "This is Finn. Ignore him. He's just here to ruin my night." "Actually," Finn said, sliding up next to me, "I'm here to save yours. These events are painfully boring, don't you think?" And just like that, I was caught between two men, both of them ridiculously attractive and clearly trying to one-up each other. As the night went on, the tension between them only grew. They started competing over everything. Who could make me laugh more? Who could name the most obscure art pieces? Who could refill my champagne glass the fastest? I was practically dizzy from all the attention. Finally, Finn leaned in close, his voice low and conspiratorial. "This place is a snooze fest. Let's get out of here. There's a jazz bar a few blocks away that'll blow your mind." Oliver, not missing a beat, stepped in. "Or we could go back to my place. I've got a rooftop view of the city that's better than any bar." They both looked at me, waiting. My heart was racing, and not just from the champagne. I mean, what do you even do in a situation like that? And then I had an idea. "Why don't we do both?" I said, grinning. Their eyes widened, but neither of them objected. The bar was dimly lit and packed, the air buzzing with the sound of live music and conversation. Finn led the way, weaving through the crowd like he owned the place. He grabbed us a table near the stage and ordered a round of drinks, his hand brushing against mine as he passed me my glass. "You like it?" he asked, nodding toward the band. I nodded, taking a sip of my cocktail. "It's perfect." Oliver leaned in from the other side, his voice warm in my ear. "Just wait until you see the view later." I felt like I was being pulled in two directions, both of them equally tempting. Finn was the life of the party, cracking jokes and making the whole room feel like it revolved around him. Oliver was quieter, more intense, his eyes lingering on mine like he was memorizing every detail. By the time we left the bar, I was light-headed, not just from the drinks, but from the sheer thrill of being with them. Oliver's apartment was gorgeous, sleek, modern, and ridiculously expensive-looking. But the rooftop? The rooftop view was breathtaking. The city stretched out before us, a sea of glittering lights shimmering against the dark. But I barely noticed it, because all my senses were locked on the two men standing so close to me. Oliver moved first, stepping in front of me. His eyes caught mine, the city lights reflecting in his dark gaze. His hand reached up, fingertips grazing my cheek, as though testing if I was really there. The warmth of his touch sent a shiver down my spine, and when his lips finally met mine, it was soft but purposeful, like he'd been waiting for this moment. The kiss deepened, his hand sliding to the back of my neck, pulling me closer. His scent, clean, woodsy, and just a little bit intoxicating, wrapped around me, making it impossible to think of anything else. My heartbeat quickened as his other hand found my waist, his grip firm but gentle, steadying me as the world seemed to tilt beneath us. And then, just as I was losing myself in him, I felt Finn step in behind me. His presence was electric, his warmth brushing against my back as his hands settled on my hips. Where Oliver was controlled and precise, Finn was wild and spontaneous. He leaned in, his breath hot against my ear. "I hope you didn't forget about me," he whispered, his voice low and teasing, sending a thrill through me. Before I could respond, Finn's lips found the curve of my neck, his stubble grazing my skin in a way that made my knees weak. My body leaned back into him instinctively, caught between the heat of his chest and the solid strength of Oliver in front of me. Oliver's hands slid lower, his thumbs pressing into my hips as his kisses trailed down my jawline. Finn's grip tightened, his hands mapping out my sides, his movements firm but unhurried. The contrast between them, Oliver's precise, calculated touch and Finn's raw, unrestrained energy, was utterly consuming. The cool night air kissed my skin as Finn's hands moved higher, brushing the edges of my waistline, while Oliver's lips found my collarbone. Each kiss sent little jolts of warmth through me. Their touch was seamless, as though they'd done this 100 times before, like they knew exactly how to move in sync. Finn's hands turned me slightly, guiding me until I was facing him. His blue eyes were piercing, a hint of mischief dancing behind them as he cupped my face, tilting my head up to meet his lips. His kiss was rougher, more demanding, his fingers threading through my hair as though he didn't want to let go. And then Oliver was behind me again, his hands firm on my hips, grounding me as Finn's kiss left me breathless. I could feel the steady rhythm of Oliver's breathing against my back, his chest rising and falling in time with my own. Every movement felt deliberate yet natural, their hands and lips exploring with an intensity that made my head spin. The rooftop air grew warmer somehow, their combined heat surrounding me, pulling me deeper into the moment. Oliver's fingers brushed against the edge of my dress, lifting it slightly as Finn's hands traced patterns along my back. The contrast was overwhelming, intoxicating. The way Oliver's grip tightened, anchoring me, while Finn's touch sent sparks of anticipation racing through me. Their breaths mingled with mine, the sounds of the city fading into the background until all I could hear was the rhythm of their movements, the soft murmurs of their voices, and the faint creak of the rooftop railing as they shifted around me. Finn's lips moved to my shoulder, his stubble grazing my skin in a way that made me shiver, while Oliver's hands slid higher, his thumbs pressing small, deliberate circles into my sides. The warmth of their touch, the way their movements mirrored each other, yet felt so distinctly different. It was overwhelming in the best way. I didn't know how long we stayed like that, the three of us tangled together under the stars. But every moment felt like forever, and not nearly long enough. Their hands, their lips, the way they seemed to know exactly what I needed. It was more than just physical. It was this perfect symphony of touch and connection that left me completely breathless. We eventually collapsed onto the rooftop cushions, the cool air brushing against our flushed skin as we lay there, catching our breath. Oliver reached for the blanket folded in the corner, draping it over us, as Finn lazily stretched, a satisfied grin on his face. "Not bad for a first rooftop experience," Finn said, smirking as he propped himself up on one elbow. Oliver rolled his eyes but didn't bother to respond. Instead, he turned to me, his hand brushing a stray strand of hair from my face. "You good?" he asked softly, his tone so genuine it made my chest ache. I nodded, my heart still racing. Better than good. The three of us stayed there for a while, the city lights twinkling above us as reality slowly crept back in. But in that moment, wrapped up in their warmth, I didn't care about anything else. We've traveled through a night of raw passion, unexpected connections, and a moment that suspended reality. But I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a night that completely rewrote the rules? A moment of connection so intense it changed everything? Drop your stories in the comments below. Share, connect, let's break the silence together. Your story might be the next one that leaves everyone breathless. Comment now. No holding back. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more stories like this. This is Long Life Wisdom, signing off. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep chasing those moments that set your soul on fire.